you'd like to make a public comment, please see Liz Bain and grab a public comment card and fill it out, and we will call on you in a few minutes. Our district mission is to support each student's needs by providing the opportunities, experiences, and educational tools for their journey. Our district vision is that all students will be communicators, contributors, critical thinkers, and collaborators, empowering each for their life ahead. As a board, we adhere to our norms, including our social contract, which is that 1, be respectful, 2, practice active listening, 3, model our district 4 Cs, 4, make data-driven decisions, 5, focus on the whole district, 6, act with positive intent, and 7, we govern, not manage, we steer, not row. Item number 2 is our public comments. Ms. Bain?
I don't have any.
Anybody here for public comment? Okay. Agenda item number 3 is our athletic director approval. Dr. Johanna Varagna, Assistant Superintendent of Administration and Innovation, will address the board.
I invite Shane up.
Yes, please do.
All right, Shane, please come up here. You sit right here. Okay. Good evening. Thank you for having me. We are really excited to bring forward our #1 candidate after a very rigorous search that involved many rounds of interviewing, phone screeners, on-site interviews, task performance, many things. So we are certain that this is the right candidate. Mr. Shane Hines emerged as an exceptionally strong candidate for the role of athletic director. He currently serves as an athletic director in the Waterford School District and previously served as an athletic director in the Troy School District. He's overseen large and complex athletic programs. He's managed significant numbers of student athletes and coaches, all while overseeing substantial operational budgets. Throughout his career, Shane has demonstrated a strong commitment to student-centered programming, operational excellence, and community engagement. His experience includes managing large-scale athletic programs, leading strategic fundraising and sponsorship initiatives, and overseeing significant facility improvements, including contributions to an $11 million bond project. He's also been actively involved in professional leadership and has served as the president of the Oakland County Athletic Directors Association. He has also contributed to many county and state committees where we know a lot of experience is gained in the ins and outs of the athletic world. Shane holds a Master of Arts in Sports Administration from Wayne State University and a Bachelor of Science in Sports Administration from Kent State University. And his combination of leadership, experience, strategic vision, and commitment to student experiences are what really stood out during our interview process and what we're really excited about. We are really looking forward to him joining our administrative team and to being a real leader of our athletic program. Eric Pierce has been truly an outstanding professional, and he is retiring. So we are going to wish him all the best on the way out, and we're really excited that we have somebody who we think can step into those big shoes to fill. So I'm going to scroll down here. The recommendation is to approve the hiring of Shane Hines as athletic director effective July 1st, and that's part of our team management union.
Okay, board members, have a motion? Ms. Ashley Davis?
I move to approve the hiring of Shane Hines as athletic director effective July 1, 2026 per the team management union conditions of employment per enclosure 3.
Do I have a second? Julie Baby. The motion to approve the hiring of Shane Hines as athletic director effective July 1st, 2026 for the team management union conditions of employment per enclosure 3 has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from any board members? Anybody?
Yes, welcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great to have you.
We're excited that just hearing everything that you just said, Johanna, is because they are big shoes to fill, and everybody's very confident that was part of the interview process, so that's wonderful to hear. And so, with that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. Welcome.
the best communities in the state, not only our school district, but also our athletic programming. I'm really excited. I know a lot of people here already. I look forward to collaborating with our community, with our school administration, everybody really inside this room and outside this room, this community. I'm really excited. I'm happy to be here. And go Lakers.
Like your tie.
Like your tie, good choice.
And just so the board knows,
Yeah.
Shane's family is here too, and grandparents. So
Hey, welcome.
Welcome. We're all one family now, incarnation.
Introduce myself.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Mark, Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good to meet you. Thank you. Thank you again. Yeah. Good to meet you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck.
How you doing?
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
All right, very well. What? Okay, good. Okay. Agenda item number 4 is our Doherty Chico Physical Moving Services bids approval. Mr. Jameson Perlin, project manager, will address the board.
Let them off the hook and this is how we can waive.
Yeah, you might
Hi.
Hi,
How
good
are
evening,
you?
everyone. Yeah, so presenting here today, I know it was kind of, brought to you guys' attention on the last board meeting. So the physical moving for Chico and Doherty Elementary School is kind of the big, overall logistics, to getting the students that are out of, currently Abbott's and then moving into the new Chico, and then, everyone in Doherty coming over to old, in the Abbott, so
Yeah.
old Chico. So what we did is we solicited bids, bid proposals, and we received 5 bid proposals, and going through them, we did post bids for 2 of those, the low bid contractors, and the low bid contractor was preferred, moving and services, and they checked every box, so they met our qualifications, and that's what we are recommending today, is for preferred moving and, moving to be awarded, the contract for moving services, and I believe they may have already started bringing out materials to some of the schools, so
Okay,
teachers
they're
could get a head start.
They're prepping.
They dropped off boxes, but not any work that we,
Yeah, so,
asked.
Okay, so can I have a motion from a board member? Art?
I move to approve the award of contract for the summer 2026 Chico and Doherty Elementary Physical Moving Services to Preferred Moving and Storage, Inc. in the amount of $74,984 as recommended in Knox Letter of Recommendation, project number 9822, dated April 15, 2026, per enclosure 4.
We have a second? I don't remember who I did last time.
Julie.
Okay. I'll have to try and go around. The motion to approve the award of contract for the summer 2026 Chico and Doherty Physical Moving Services to Preferred Moving and Storage, Inc. in the amount of $74,984 as recommended in Ox Letter of Recommendation, project number 9822, dated April 15, 2026. Per enclosure 4 has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Art?
Is this coming out of the construction project?
yes, it is.
And was the amount roughly what was anticipated?
That, to be honest with you, I do not know what that number was.
Yes, it's in the general conditions that would be split proportionally to the Chico project and as well as the Doherty project that was bid out. So, you know, that all-inclusive number we give you, the goal is we will stay within that, and if we don't, we'll be coming back to the board. But for example, Chico's near the completion, we're well within the budget that was presented to the board, yes.
That's really the most important thing now, all right? Thank you.
Okay. Julie?
This is just for my edification. There's a big swing in these base bids.
Yes.
Is that just, that seems really a large swing between the highest and the.
It is, yes. Yeah, it's a reflection. I think a lot of those companies are used to maybe a different, maybe not schoolwork. I know Preferred, they've worked with us in the past, out by East China in another school as well. and so they've done well. And I know, Palmer Moving and Service, they did the previous moving for you, and their numbers were very comparable, so we have no.
I have no doubt about, I'm not concerned about the bid at all.
Okay,
It's
yes.
really just understanding your business a little.
Yeah.
Do you see swings like that often?
We do, yes, either companies that aren't really don't want, I mean, if they get the job,
Yeah.
they make obviously a lot of profits, and so I think that's.
So
what
they
some
don't
of those
really want it,
companies
but
do.
they'll,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
They'll take the chance that
They'll
maybe there's
take-
only
yeah.
one or two bids and they'll
Exactly.
throw out a really high number.
Got it, that makes sense to me. Okay, I was just curious,
Yeah.
it was just
So
like,
we do see that quite a bit.
okay.
Any other questions?
Just, so, this includes like moving any like furniture that might need to be moved, but also like all the teachers' stuff and the books and the eye center and like all of
Yes.
that.
Yep, that would include the teachers, stuff and the garages,
Yeah.
and then all the eye center, and furniture as well.
Okay.
And all the supplies.
Yeah, like all,
Yes.
It's everything we bought, so.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
And
Everything
storage,
except
if they have to
the-
store stuff for a period of time. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, thanks, Jason.
All right, thank you.
Agenda item number 5 is our Doherty abatement bid review. Mr. Philip Gross from Arch Environmental Project Group Manager will address the board. Oh, you're over there.
I'm over here, yeah, I
I
can slide,
can't
I
see
can
you.
slide,
We go
I can
over
slide,
here.
I'll slide over there.
Because you're,
I'll slide
I
over,
can't
yeah.
see you through Liz, probably.
Yeah, that's right, I'll slide over there.
Thank you for that.
Good
Welcome
evening.
back.
Yeah, Arch Environmental Group solicited bids for the asbestos abatement prior to demolition, at Doherty Elementary. Those bids were, received on received and opened on April 14th. Subsequent to that, we, Arch reviewed and did post-bid interviews with the low two bidders, which were MWB Environmental Services Incorporated and Environmental Maintenance Engineers Incorporated. Following the post-bid interviews, Arch recommended the second low bid of Environmental Maintenance Engineers, based on the following criteria. Essentially, the low bidder did not have any experience doing any kind of schoolwork. They've had significant turnover in personnel, and, again, have not done any schoolwork, since 2022. Given those criteria, we are recommending the, bid of Environmental Maintenance Engineers, who has, done extensive schoolwork, including, extensive work within West Windsor School District.
Okay, does anyone have any, I know you're just reviewing this, does anyone have any questions before the meeting next May? No? Did you have something? I don't know if I saw you
Well, I
raise your
mean,
hand.
no, I mean, the
Okay.
only thing I was gonna say is, again, it was really the workforce capacity and the experience with dealing with, schools. This is not one, again, this is a service contract in terms of the abatement. Important to bid out, but again, we felt that the numbers were close enough to work with someone that we've worked with in the district and have not had, you know, in the time I've been here, we've not had any issues with the abatement process.
Yeah. And, I'll echo that sentiment with, especially when we've had buildings in the past where it's been added on many times, there's a lot of potential hidden things that we don't know about, and Amy has a lot of experience with that, so. Okay, are you gonna be at the next meeting, or is somebody?
I don't know.
I
Okay.
think
If
Jamie
you
will
guys
be
want me,
back.
if you guys
Okay.
would like me there, I can certainly be there, so that's
Okay,
fine.
so,
We will check with Jamie if he's
Okay.
back, if he's not, then
Okay.
I might bother
Alright.
you, if that's okay.
All right, tell VMP to get up, give himself back to work.
I know. I'm with you.
alright, thanks, Phil,
Sure thing.
appreciate it. Okay, if anyone comes up with any questions before that, feel free to email Danya, and, she can get some input on that. Okay. Agenda item number 6 is our West Bloomfield High School
You're all
STEAM, what?
Oh, no, he's, I just told you all.
High School esteemed tech package review, Mr. Wesley Prescott, Director of Technology. Oh, we have the whole team.
We've got a whole group here.
Everybody,
More than merrier.
yes, welcome.
Good evening.
All right, good evening. So we have for your consideration, or actually review this evening, and consideration in a couple weeks, the technology infrastructure portions of the new STEAM edition at West Bloomfield High School. IDS went through the bidding process, and I'll let Sean walk us through that.
So, I think there may be some initial concerns with only one bid. I'd just like to remind the board that just because there is only one bid doesn't mean the contractor knew that there was only gonna be one bid, right? So contractor may not think he's the only one, there could be 10 bids, there could be one bid. So we then take it to the next step by reviewing the actual bid costs, unit line items, to make sure they're in line with historical pricing models and what we've seen in other recent projects with similar scope. And we found no concerns with DET's response. So even though they were a single bid, they already were very familiar with the district. I think that's why they went after this project aggressively. It is a relatively small scope, so I think that's what may have led to only a single bid. If there was a larger scope, multi-year, it does gain a little bit more interest, but being that it is a small scope in relationship to the bond program, it's not a surprise that we only received one bid.
And a portion of the project is the audio visual systems for that space, which DET is already under contract with us for our other projects, so
They're already in the
it's
building.
not
They're in the building.
uncommon. Yeah.
And an extension of the Epic system, so they're already the vendor for Epic, so they're probably gonna get better pricing, right? So there's details there.
Yep, so the cost will be $125,810.
Anyone have any other questions? All right.
Same question as before, so we have worked with them again, or before, so that's great. Is the 125,000 in the ballpark of what we expected or have budgeted for?
Yep.
These will all be paid out of 2023 bond in line with what was budgeted for technology. So specifically, stuff that's in this bid is like the cabling, the audiovisual systems, things like this.
I think, or tell me if I'm wrong, I think what he's asking is it a surprise of the cost?
No, it's in line with what we budgeted for that specific line item. It's
All
not,
these things add on top of each
Yeah.
other. And even though the bond issue, the bond approval that the voters approved is big, all these layers on, and you don't wanna be caught at the very end.
Right.
Yeah,
with
no.
not enough money.
The tech money we basically say, this is your allocation, and then they break it down, and as those things get filled in, they make sure it matches up again. So it's not like, we can't say, oh, we're over on this project, Wes won't let us have it. Like, that's technology
Wes won't.
funds,
And we have done a really good job of being conscious of the budget, like the Chico, the total package for that, while it was high, came in under what we had budgeted for. And that we use some of that to help offset the Epic project that we're doing now district-wide.
Person,
I just really appreciate adding supported by the 2023 bond under the recommendation, right? That's just something that you guys did, and I want to say thank you.
okay. And just so the board knows, like, Sean has been with us since 19. So with the 17 bond, he came in and really helped with the technology when we were going through a lot of transitions, and he's been through a lot of these vendors with us, so I just wanted to call that out especially. Do you want to introduce
Sorry, I'm sorry. Bill Canfield.
Bill?
Yeah.
But I don't know if have you met the board yet?
I-
Bill's been working with Sean, I don't remember, okay. So that's Bill, he's working with Sean at IDS.
Yeah, just with the amount of bond work that's ongoing, it was good to have another support person
Yeah.
that can
Okay.
lead the charge. He was instrumental in the design of the STEM edition of the project.
Okay, good. Very good. Okay, excellent, thank
All
you
right,
guys.
thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. 7 is our strategic plan quarterly update. Mr. Scott Long, Assistant Soup of Learning Services, along with Dr. Johanna Marakna, Assistant Soup of Admin and Innovation, Dr. Jessica Cohn, Director of Student Support Services, Ms. Andrea Frank, Public Relations Executive, will be addressing the board.
Good evening, May already. Beautiful weather outside. I think we have some really cool updates to be able to share with you this evening, so thank you for your time and attention. As President Brickman mentioned, there'll be several of us presenting tonight, and we're gonna really focus and dial in on our strategic plan and where we've been this year and some specific action steps that we've taken since our last quarterly report. I'll dial in on academics and programs. Dr. Cohen will tag on and share some of the highlights of student support services. I'll be sharing a little bit about learning environment and culture as it relates to our strategic plan and our goals. Then Johanna will share a little bit about personnel and leadership. Andrea will highlight communication and community involvement, and I will play the role of Jamie Stottlemyre tonight and share operations and finances as he can't be with us this evening. So when it comes to academics and programs, we know our goal statement. We know it's to provide engaging, meaningful, inclusive, and rigorous programming for our students, both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. You'll see here some really cool pictures of highlights of the year, along with a cool logo of our Advanced Pathways program that we're launching for the first time next year at the middle school. But what I really want to do after I talk about Advanced Pathways is dial in on some of our priority objectives as it relates to that goal statement in the area of academics, because that is the foundation of everything that we do, and whether it's operations or communications or even culture and learning environment, it all aims to serve and support what we do academically with our students. We know that we need to challenge each and every student, and our middle school Advanced Pathways program that we're launching next year aims to do exactly that. We have multiple data points that we looked at for acceptance, from NWA reading to grade point average to the COGAT test that kids took, and writing. We had nearly 300 students come in to take those assessments on a Saturday, on multiple Saturdays, and it all shook out. Our sixth graders, we had 106 kids come in to tests. We sent specific invites to students that met initial criteria, and we also offered parents the opportunity to opt their kid into testing if they did not get that invite. And 106 sixth graders for next year rose their hand. 63 of them met criteria. And it was very rigorous criteria. In seventh grade for next year, 88 tested, 60 of them met criteria, and then in eighth grade, 97 and 64 met criteria. As I mentioned before in the previous meeting, this is all about raising the level of rigor for students that are at the very high end of their academic progress right now. So in English, they'll bump up a whole grade level in their English language arts experience. So those that are taking eighth grade, that are in the eighth grade next year will take ninth grade English. That'll propel them to more AP classes at the high school when they move on. In social studies, they'll bump up a grade level as well. When they get to eighth grade, they're gonna do a pre-AP world history course to prepare them for the rigors of advanced placement classes. In science, they'll do an honors level science course where they do the same grade level curriculum, but at a much deeper level and more project-based experience. This is a 3-year cohort for students that come in at sixth grade. So there's a continuous commitment that we expect from our students. At the same time, we also know that students may not go forward. If it's not the right fit for them, then we'll allow that opportunity. And we have some space for students down the road if they didn't get in this year. So we're really excited about this. I gotta give huge props to our department, Learning Services, and more importantly, the middle school administration who have worked really hard to get this off the ground and get kids really excited. When it comes to our first objective in the strategic plan, we wanted to be able to deliver data-driven, high-quality instruction for all of our students. And at a systems level, we do this with district data protocols. So our cabinet, our learning services department, we engage in district data protocols with our building administrators, our assistant principals. That happens every time we take a benchmark assessment. We look at benchmark assessment data, we look at attendance data, we look at all those pieces to make sure that what we're doing as it relates to the strategic plan is lined up, and then we make tactical adjustments. At the building level, our principals follow that same protocol. They've become really adept at being able to lead their staff through those same types of data protocols so that their professional learning communities can get down to that classroom level data. As a result of the system that we built, we've seen really good growth. As you know, in our last winter update, all of our grade levels in math and reading met or exceeded the NWA national projections for grade level growth. And we're also excited to see what the spring brings us, as we know that students just finished state assessments and now they're moving right into their NWA assessments. So I'll be excited to be able to share that update later on in late spring. And our second objective, our elementary principals, our department, our literacy coaches have been driven by one sole goal, and that's to advance literacy outcomes at the elementary level by implementing EL education. And it really started with a very sustained and focused effort with professional learning. Whether it was full day PD prior to the start of the school year, full day PD in November, or asynchronous professional learning in December, we had a constant thread of how do we support our students in literacy through our instructional design. We also had very focused and job-embedded coaching. Our literacy coaches are the best of the best. We have people from all over the county looking towards our literacy coaches and the work that they do with teachers. They provide extensive support for our teachers so that our teachers can be successful. We also had the support of the EL education coaches. They were on campus 8 times this year, walking through classrooms with principals, walking through classrooms with literacy coaches, and really just giving us the nudge that we needed to make sure that it was a successful implementation year. And then lastly, we've done a really exceptional job when it comes to measuring and monitoring what's happening in classrooms. We go through and do our learning environment observations, we give feedback to the teachers. Amy Quinn has been phenomenal in staying on top of that, and we've had the support of Oakland Schools and all those data sets. They've helped us look at that data, refine it, and make tactical decisions moving forward. As a result of that, you'll see that when we looked at projected proficiency in our winter, all of our grade levels increased from the fall to the winter by an average of 9.5 percentage points. I'm optimistic that that will increase when we look at it in the spring, to be determined. Learning environment observations, where the magic happens in the classroom, we noticed that in the areas of learning targets and how we differentiate instruction and the level of engagement of students all increased by 0.5 points or more compared to last year. So what we mean by that is when we go into classrooms, we go into 12 elementary classrooms per quarter, different teachers every single time. We have a whole set of about 20 items that we score. These 3 were the key areas of focus this year. It's on a 4-point scale. Learning targets on average was a 3.6, which is really strong. Differentiation was at a 4, and engagement was at a 3.92. Last year, when we looked at these same scores, they were a little bit lower, and so we're excited to see that teacher practice of instructional design and facilitation of that is getting better and better. We can walk into one 4th grade classroom on one side of the district, drive all the way over to the other side of the district, and see the same types of things happening. I know for those of you that have been able to attend school walkthroughs, you've observed the same types of things. So that's really exciting. Objective 3 was all about advancing secondary math outcomes, and we wanted to be able to do that by our first year of implementing Reveal Math and the ALEX platform, which is like IXL but more aligned to Reveal Math as that core curricular resource. We really started this year with common expectations. For the first time at the middle school level, everybody in every classroom had consistent math test retake procedures where every kid, if they did poorly, had a chance to retake that test. Every middle school classroom had the same expectations when it came to how are we going to use the workbook to support kids, and also with grading policies. We saw those same consistent things at the high school level, and also coaching. Hadil Azo, who will be here later tonight, she moonlights as the math coach and the ELD support. She did a really good job working alongside of Reveal Math to give coaching to middle school teachers in the second semester to really pick up how they support students in individual groups and student by student. And then lastly, we feel like the homeschool connections has really increased. We added a page to our website that helps parents navigate how to use ALEX as well as the Reveal Math resource. And I know from a personal standpoint, my son who's in the middle school program, just having that workbook at home to be able to cross-reference and look at sample problems has been a huge, huge help for our students and our families. As a result of that, we've seen increases in the percentage of students that are projected to be proficient from the fall to the winter in all those secondary grade levels. And also in learning environment observations, we have increased quite a bit. Learning targets are now at a 3.0 and engagement's at a 3.3 out of 4. And that's a big jump from 2025. Objective 4 My favorite one, because I was a former secondary ELA teacher, is we decided we were gonna pilot some curricular resource materials and decide on one by the end of this year. We were able to do that, and we landed on EL education, as you know. We wouldn't have been successful without a very data-driven pilot process. We had a large group of people at the table, people in our department, administrators, classroom teachers, all really just combing through everything that existed in those 3 resources to help us comfortably decide that EL education was the way to go. And now we're in this like pilot to practice mode. So yeah, we chose a resource, but we're in classrooms up to 2 days a week alongside of those teachers, supporting them, coaching them, but also us learning about the resources so that our 7th and 8th grade teachers have everything that they need to be successful. I could probably tell you 12 different things that I've learned that we're gonna prepare over the summer so that it's a seamless transition. And then we're gonna launch. We have June 10th is our day in which all of our secondary ELA teachers will come on site, get their full day of training. They're already eager to work over the summertime and work on planning and unpacking all those units. So I'm really excited about that. Just below is some ed report data about EL education, which you've already seen. But that rounds out our big 4 priority objectives in academics. Next, I'm gonna call Dr. Cohen up to the table. She's gonna share all the great things in special education.
Thank you. All right, Scott, thinking about our connection to our plan, inclusive educational opportunities for our students. We do have an increased focus on inclusive education. As I shared, I think a few weeks ago, our students have increased their participation in general education to 73% of our students spending 80% of their day or more, and this is tied directly to better outcomes for students. We've also increased our students who have met their growth goals on NWA reading from spring 2025 to winter 2026. We've increased at all levels, and this really just goes to show with our new curricular resources, it's impacting all of our students. We've cross-trained our teachers, so not only general education teachers, but special ed teachers as well, so they can use each other, right, in tandem and work together to support our students. At the middle school, we've had a big focus on universal design for learning. This is a group of mostly general education teachers with a few special ed teachers as well. Oakland Schools is leading this work with us, and this focuses on increased access for students, which has been successful. We've been able to do some teacher labs at the middle school, so they've watched each other teach, which is really powerful professional learning. And the of it is not as a special ed practice. It's really not. Just really, it's good instruction. And how can we represent our learning and demonstrate learning in different ways? Our special ed staff, as I've shared, have been provided with increased and intentional professional development, focusing on our general education standards. And then again, we do have some students who are working on the essential elements, which is different than the Common Core, but a downward extension of them, so connected, but they need something a little bit different, more specialized. So we've really partnered with Oakland Schools, made sure our teachers have what they need to meet all of our students' needs. And lastly, we've increased our access to community-based instruction and work-based learning for our program students. As I've shared with the new Transition Center, that's been a huge win for our students, but really thinking K-12 as well. Our students have gone on, it's more than field trips, right? It's intentional, community-based instruction. They're going to Kroger to purchase items, develop a budget, come back, cook what they have, share it with their friends, family, you all at the Transition Center, right? So that really goes to speak as to how we can incorporate our learning across different environments.
Thank you, Dr. Cohen.
And they're very helpful at Bush's Market too.
Oh, good.
They are.
They are fabulous. So, that's good.
We're going to transition next to culture and learning environment. A major goal in our strategic plan is to make sure that we provide a positive, safe, inclusive environment for all of our students. We had 3 really big priority objectives in this area. 1, to make sure that we had equitable and engaging experiences for our students. 2, to do a really good job implementing CKH, Capturing Kids' Hearts, and Ruler at the elementary level. And then 3, to really strengthen and design the delivery of advisory. I know that last board meeting you heard from the middle school administration. They talked a lot about how they've made a major lift with the advisory program to meet different groups of students where they're at. Today though, I want to focus on the magic number 3, not as in 3-pointer, but 3 straight years of being a CKH showcase school. We have all of our elementary buildings and transition center have done that back to back to back years, which is really exciting, and we're excited to continue that momentum moving forward. If you look at our K-12 learning environment observations as it relates to classroom culture, one thing you'll see is that we are a 3.8 out of 4 or higher K through 12. And what that means is when specifically in the area of learners being treated in a fair, clear, and consistent manner. At the elementary level, that score stays at a 4 consistently and steadily. At the secondary level, it bumped up to a 3.8, a pretty good increase from the previous year. When it comes to seeing how learners demonstrate a sense of community in the classroom, that being positive, cohesive, engaged, and purposeful, K-12, it's a 3.7 or higher out of 4. Again, elementary, steady at a 4. Secondary has bumped up to a 3.7 from about a 3.4. So we're excited to see how our classroom teachers are connecting with kids. Some action steps that we have coming up or that we've done also, we've had a wide offering of professional learning that's focused on classroom culture, routines, procedures, expectations. We had some key professional learning in our asynchronous PD in December. Our new teachers have had lots of opportunities to learn from people like Rebecca Heitch and Sonia James when it comes to classroom culture and community. And we have coming up our Capturing Kids' Hearts 2-day training for any elementary and transition center staff that was hired after July of 2021. That will take place on June 10th and 11th, all day long. Stop by and see us if you want to. Joe would love to say hi. And next I'm going to kick it over to Johanna. She'll share a little bit about personnel and leadership.
Hey Scott,
Yes.
that 3.8 and 3.7, who measures that?
So when we go in, we take a team of our members of our team and principals, we go into classrooms. So at the secondary level, we do 16 visits per quarter, and we just go into random classrooms. We stay in there for 20 minutes, and we have a tool that we use to score that.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, this is similarly an update to what we had earlier in the year. We actually just wrapped up today our last Leadership Academy meeting with a star who came to visit us. It was Dr. Bazzi. But they had really great questions for her, and really, they're really looking to see what leadership means, what it looks like for them, what are ways that they can take the next step in their careers. So it was a really great last meeting. Also, as you know, Eric Whitney was the pioneer of the Employee Hub. It is up and running, and it is really wonderful for our staff. Everything is in there. We're learning new features, which is great. So we were able to send out contracts through it now instead of using paper contracts, and it's just really a nice way for us to be modern, be efficient, and make sure that we have a streamlined experience for our staff.
I want that theme song from the Employee Hub. Do you remember when you played that?
Yes.
We should have had that in the background. Okay, next, we're going to call up Andrea. She's going to share some highlights from communications and community engagement.
Good evening, everyone. It's very exciting to be here to give a snapshot of what I've been up to. I feel like the first time I was here, it was just the plan, and now I can say that I'm feeling more confident in getting into the groove here. So with the communications, obviously I'm very visual, so I put up a lot of just snapshots of some things that I've been working on. So for communications, a lot of the time I hear feedback from our admin assistants on how I can help them better communicate with parents. So you can see here the parent info nights. This was on our website. In the middle there, that's highlighting our student clubs at the high school. That's something that we're very proud of. So they wanted a one sheet to hand out. And then also just highlighting all the great things that are going on at our middle school, honor roll. So we just wanted to take a snapshot of that. I'm not done. So community engagement, this is something that we work with our Parent Communicators Network. So every month we would get together, Scott Long and I would be at the meetings, and they also were looking for something to walk away with, some highlights, some quick things that they could share with their friends and their family of all the great things that we're doing. So we developed, it sort of kind of looks like a newsletter a little bit, you know, so just talking points bullet points, quick, again, just nuggets of all the great things. So 38 sports, 50 clubs, national merit recipients, things like that. So just very tangible talking points. Michigan Week, that's coming up this Thursday, and this is a community event, something that I work on all year long. So I just wanted to mention that. That's how we stay engaged with our community and other districts in the surrounding areas. And then Laker Life. This is something that we've been working with the students to kind of to show their voice, and this was one of the videos that we had, why they love being a Laker, why they love West Bloomfield High School. So we could talk about it all day long, but hearing it from other students when they're on different social channels, hearing it from students rather than hearing it from me makes it a lot more, genuine. And then the partnerships, if you were attending the Kentucky Derby event that we had just last Saturday, thank you for your support. The WBEF provides grants to all of our teachers that apply. So this is something that we've really resurrected from, we have a new website now, we're branding a little bit differently, so we're putting a lot of energy into that, into getting parents involved and understanding what we do at the WBEF. So we even highlighted that at our ACS staff meeting, who we are and what we're doing when they see a bunch of parents come into this building. Why are they here? So, and that's a highlight on one of the partnerships. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
So I'm not an expert on operations and finance, as you all know, but I do know that this is pretty amazing. If you were to step into Chico recently, you're gonna see pictures or images like this. That's because construction is in its final phase, on track for substantial completion by June, ready to go by the first day of school next year, and I know the community is really buzzing. Jamie and his team has done a phenomenal job managing all of these projects within the building. It's like poetry in motion to go in the building and see so many different groups of people working at once that they don't even know each other, but they're all just working seamlessly without interrupting. It's really cool to see, and the way that Jamie and the team has orchestrated all that has been great. Exterior work will continue throughout the spring, playground construction scheduled for mid-May. Transportation efficiency is another area that we've been working on in operations and finance, specifically as it relates to making sure that we're streamlining costs of transportation and also streamlining how we use those routes. So our goal is to shift from a 3-tier to a 2-tier routing system so that we can improve efficiency and cost. Reduction of magnet program transportation from 5 buses to 3 buses while still getting those students to school in an efficient way. And we expect to save annually about $250,000 based on those moves that we plan on making. I know it's been a great partnership with Durham to be able to pare this down and find the best ways to use our buses and get our students from point A to point B, and that work will continue throughout the spring. We've also had some really exciting times with nutrition and student wellness. If you talk to any elementary student, one of their favorite things is when the chef comes through and does demonstrations with the kids about healthy eating choices. For example, the kids did a full hands-on learning with a full hydroponic growing process. They talked about planting seeds, cultivating produce, harvesting a variety of things like lettuces, tomatoes, cucumbers, edible flowers, really cool stuff. Meanwhile, over at the high school, we're in phase 2 of the high school kitchen project, really just upgrading a lot of the food services equipment, state-of-the-art standards in terms of mechanical equipment that will help expand the food offerings and variety. And then the Chico kitchen is also underway, where they're gonna actually have a dishwasher in there, which will make things way more efficient for our kitchen staff in there as well. And you'll see the same thing to follow suit with the new Doherty Elementary kitchen. So Jamie would do a way better job explaining all that stuff, but I took a puncher's chance at it.
Good.
Any questions?
Any questions, you guys? That's pretty comprehensive. Thanks, Scott. Anybody?
Nice job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good work.
I have one question, Scott. So when we talk about the advanced pathways, we've got about 7 students outside of that 60, then that entire 63 are coming in then for sixth grade and 8th grade? So we've talked about 50 to 60 students per grade, but for 6th grade, we had 63 meet criteria.
That's correct,
And
yeah,
8th grade, 64.
correct.
So were those 4, 5, 6, 7 students be allowed to attend as well?
The ones that met criteria, yes, they're gonna
Okay.
be part of it, yep.
All right.
Be a bigger
So
We have enough space to be able to make it work. You're talking about classroom sizes of about 32. We can make that work.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty, so my next question in regards to that too, and I just wasn't sure about, so for instance, if a 6th grader tested one of the 63 within their cohort, are they then tested again for 7th grade and then 8th grade, or once you're in?
So we'll annually examine their data. We'll look at their grades, we'll look at their NWA scores, and just keep a close pulse on that, right? If we find that it's not a good fit for a student, that's when we have conversations at the building level, administrators and family about how we're gonna move forward, right?
And so an emotional component may be in there, you never know what may happen, death of a parent, grandparent, or
Yeah,
whatever, that
exactly.
may, leave that child, maybe not at that top tier, so emotional support within.
For sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Or likewise, a kid might not be ready for it when they're in 5th grade going into 6th, but maybe in a year or two of maturity, they could retest.
Yeah,
And
you're
go
talking
in as
about
a
my son
7th
right
grader.
now.
Go in as like a 7th grader or an 8th grader.
Yeah, exactly.
Another question too. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let Kirsten go, and then you can.
Quick question about the culture and learning environment. I appreciate Art's question about that it was your tool. Do we have data, student data and teacher data that support that too?
And that's a great question, I appreciate that. So as you know, we do an annual survey from families, students, and staff. That data is not done yet, so we're in the process of compiling that. And then what we do at our level is we triangulate all that data. So we look at what the learning environment observation data says, what the student data says, what the family data says, and then we also look at the academic piece of that. That's part of our data protocols.
Yep.
All right, one question under student support services. So with the first bullet, it talks about with an increased focus of inclusive education and 50%. So help me understand, because in my mind, I'm thinking that IEPs are how many IEPs do we have in general population versus special ed? Because in general population, you can be a general population student and still have an IEP, so would you not spend 100% of your days?
All of our students with IEPs are general education students first, right? So like
Okay.
the goal is for them to spend as much time as possible in a general education environment. Now their IEP and the supports that they need are gonna dictate how much time they spend there, right? But like as Dr. Cohen mentioned, our goal is for the majority of them to spend 80% or more of their time in a general ed classroom.
And then the other 20 spend the majority of their time.
You might have a student that is in an ASD classroom, right, who needs more support and spends less time in a general ed classroom than a student that has resource room IEP, where they just need reading and math support, if that makes sense.
But, yeah, but they still go in
Correct.
as general?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So even if that was identified earlier, they still go into general? Oh, okay,
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
Didn't know.
Great
Thank you.
question, yep.
And I would say, even though we're getting stronger and stronger, I think that's been a West Bloomfield model for a long time.
Correct.
Even though we're improving every year.
Yep.
Anybody else? Excellent.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. Thanks to
Appreciate
the team.
Just so you know, this has an hour before it's shutting down. A little alert came out. We should be good, but
We should be good, cause your
I
last,
postponed it for as long as.
your
I could.
last two are, you're gonna use your computer.
Yeah,
No,
yep.
no, it's alright. I'm kidding. Yeah, Johanna will use her computer for a
No,
while.
I checked the drop down.
Oh, sorry.
So item number 8 is our Oakland Schools General Fund Fiscal Year 27 Budget Resolution Review. Ms. Nancy Hoover. Now, Executive Director of Financial Services will address the board. Give her a break if she starts having a coughing attack. She's dealing with allergy cough.
We prearranged it, I would finish her
Okay.
sentences if she starts coughing.
Because that's usually
I
what
took
you
notes,
get.
I'm ready.
probably aware, this is a requirement of the ISD to have, to bring their budget to each of the 28 districts in Oakland County. Some of the highlights of their budget, some of their key projects and initiatives, they have artificial intelligence strategies and capacity building. They have special populations continuum of supports. They are continuing their business office residency program, and we actually were notified just last week that we will be getting another resident. Our resident finished his time with us. He accepted a position in another district, a full-time position. He'll be out of the residency program, and so we are getting a new resident that will start June 22nd with us. We will have them the first rotation instead of the third this time.
Right for the audit.
Right for the audit. So they're gonna jump right in with us, so that'll be exciting. They're only going to have 3 residents this year instead of, or for this 2-year cycle instead of 4 in the prior cycle. They're continuing their Human Resource Leadership Academy, which is a little different than the business one. They are looking to fund special ed. They'll be using a little bit of their fund balance. They're looking to build a new autistic program in the Oxford School District, which is goes through the special education approval process when they're doing that. Lake Orion dropped their program, so it's going to move to Oxford. But then there's always costs in construction costs in building that program. They are looking at step increases for their personnel, as well as a 2% increase across the board. They do have some union members they will have to bargain for that. But other than that, those are the main things in the budget this year.
Okay, so that will come to the next board meeting.
2 things that directly benefit us are the Leo project. They still provide funding for that, so we're appreciative of that. And then there's some increases to the PA-18 money, so that will help a tiny bit. It's not a lot of money, but it's something when things, yeah, we'll take it, so. And then a big expansion of AI, which understandably is here.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, agenda item 9 is our budget development book review. Ms. Nancy Becker.
So as in the past, we have created the budget development book, and that is what is presented to you on the table.
We also have it, it's also the PDF of it is
Board doc.
it's in board docs. Yeah.
Okay, so this is just the start of the budgeting process. There will be a lot of information hopefully coming our way from the state throughout May and the beginning of June, hopefully. So this is just the foundation of it, so.
Yep, it looks right now all proposals from the House, Senate, and the Governor have, for the first time in a number of years, have gone with the same foundation increase of $250 per student, which would take the base foundation up to $10,300. Obviously, West Bloomfield receives hold harmless, so we're closer to, we would just be under $11,000 a student.
So the question will be is all the categoricals and things like that.
All the categoricals, they're looking to increase at-risk and bilingual. The Senate and the Governor is looking to do looking to combine those 2 pieces of funding and do a weighted average of those. The House and the Senate, though, they're both looking to increase that funding, but they are very far apart in the amount. The Senate is looking for a much larger increase, and the House is giving us a very small one, so.
And there's differences in 31AA. Some are trying to get rid of the waiving your rights, and one is not, if I'm remembering correctly. So we'll have to wait and see what they do with 31AA.
Yeah.
That's the safety and security grant.
One of them says that you wouldn't have to give up the attorney-client privilege,
Yeah,
but you would have to submit to a outside investigation.
which we were all,
Which
I think
most
we were all
schools
fine.
allow that to be done. You want a third party and a mass casualty to take a look at that, so hopefully that goes through.
Right, then we will move on into is our budget to actual for April?
This is our budget to actual, for April. And we're all still looking pretty consistent with the prior year at this time. Again, federal revenue, we're a little behind in collections there. For whatever reason, title was very, very, very late in getting approved. They kind of shifted the whole approval process this year, so we just got it approved. We're very excited, and we have submitted a request for reimbursement for our funds, but we haven't received that yet. So that will get us back in line with what we have collected at the same point last year. Adult Ed, we still have not gotten approved. Our grant, we're still working through that with the people of the state. So hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have that approved. Once that's approved, then I will adjust the budget for the additional monies that we've been given, and that will put that, it will no longer be that we're over budget in that one. Instructional staff support, again, a lot of that money is spent up front. We use a big amount of that money to purchase our licenses for our software that we use, and that is all purchased in July. That we spent, and some of it's even prepaid the year before. So that's why, in this case, we're running a little high. We also had some summer programs that, we had a very large grant that we used in the summer, so all that money was spent right away. And then transportation, as I mentioned last month, we were working with the transportation on some discussions about our bills, and we have now come to a conclusion on those, and we are all paid up through February, so we still have not paid March at this point. Or April, but not quite there. And then the last one, again, our other financing uses. Again, in the past, we have had budgeted transfers to other funds, and we have taken that out of the budget, so we are no longer transferring money to other funds. So, those are it.
Great. Any questions? Okay, thank you, Nancy.
No problem.
Oh, sorry, Art.
Why are we transferring, I assume you meant general fund to other
Yes.
funds?
We, in the past, we transferred money
Like to community ed.
to community ed, and we are no longer doing that. We have got that budget to a place where it does not need the general fund support.
Because they were spending more
Okay.
than
They
they
were-
made.
Yep.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
They're
So
falling into their
As long
budget.
as they're self-supporting,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yes, they're self-support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Feel better. Scott?
Sorry.
Welcome back, Scott.
I don't understand. Agenda item number 11 is our elementary EL educational professional learning and workbook review. Mr. Scott Long is back. Assistant Superintendent of Women's Services will address the board.
Thank you. All right, thank you again for having me this evening. I want to go over specifically EL education services that are needed for our year 2 implementation, all of which align to our strategic plan, but most specifically in academics and programming, in the belief statement that all students can and will learn. What we found in the EL education curriculum is that there is high standards for all of our students. The level of rigor is very high, and that we believe that every kid can reach them. And which also ties into equitable education, giving students access to standards-based materials, giving them access to texts that are at grade level is gonna help them in the long run be successful in middle school, high school, and beyond in college. We mentioned this earlier in my earlier presentation about our strategic plan, 2 specific areas that we focused in on. Number 1, data-driven instruction. Number 2, really advancing elementary literacy outcomes through the implementation of this resource. And this is data that you saw in the wintertime, grade level data, the grade level growth data on the top, where we've exceeded the national projection for grade level growth. And then the fall to winter projected proficiency. June, July, we'll share with you the fall to spring projected proficiency. But these are some fun pictures. This is what you'll see when you walk into an elementary classroom. A big part of EL education is learning targets that are aligned to the standards. When our kids know what it is that they're supposed to learn, they have a much better chance of learning it. And more importantly, when those learning targets are actually aligned with priority standards, we're doing what matters most. We're making the most of the time that we have. You can see here pictures of kids unpacking learning targets, identifying key vocabulary, academic vocabulary in there. You can see teachers circling some of that vocabulary. You'll see it on boards when you walk into classrooms. It's everywhere that you go. The protocols are another big piece of EL education, whether it's a walk and talk, a chalk talk, back-to-back, face-to-face, equity sticks to make sure that all students have the chance to participate and not just the ones that raise their hands. All these protocols are built into the curricular resource to make sure that we live by our belief statements, which are all kids can and will learn. Some other fun pictures, when you walk into classrooms, you'll see anchor charts across every classroom. Anchor charts that highlight academic language that the kids are learning, anchor charts that highlight how to be a great writer, how to pay attention to grammatical rules. That is a big piece that's built into the curriculum as well. Performance tasks, my personal favorite, where kids at the end of a module will produce something, whether it's a presentation, or up here the frog pamphlets, or down here a shield that represents their experience in life. These are all really cool, and it gives the kids a chance to shine in a different way that is still academic but less formal in nature. Skills block, if you walk into a classroom during skills block, you'll see teacher leading full group instruction on phonics, but also small group that's based on where the students are at. All block is very similar, but it's for upper elementary. All these components really comprise what EL education is all about. For us in the district, when you look at this pyramid, one thing that's made us very successful in year one is the systems that we have in place. Whether it's the principal-coach alignment, they are in lockstep with each other as they walk through classrooms and support teachers, or whether it's the learning services, learning environment walkthroughs, or how we partner with Oakland schools to refine our continuous improvement plan. We have systems in place that make sure that professional learning is systemic, sustained, and aligned throughout the year. The outside expert support has also been huge. While we have good systems, it also helps to have a little help from your friends. And EL education brings in coaches on site and coaches through the big pitfalls, the things that are challenging, and then they point out the things that are going really well, which is helpful. And then lastly, at the top of the pyramid, the teacher and student materials. The teacher materials are very easy to navigate. The student materials are also easy to navigate. However, we ran into one big problem this year, and that was the paper problem. So we decided at the beginning of this year we were not going to get the workbooks, and we felt like we could run the copies, get the packets to classrooms, and save a lot of money. What we found at the end of the year after we did that for 3 of the modules, and then we cost compared that to the workbooks, it really wasn't that much of a difference. And it also impacted how teachers were organized in the classroom. We feel like by having the workbooks, it's going to create a more seamless process for our kids. They'll be able to find and locate things better. It'll help them with their executive functioning, and it's more teacher friendly. Which brings me to our recommendation that we'll bring to the board later this month. We're proposing that annually we purchase the EL education workbooks K5. They get 4 workbooks, 1 for every module. The cost of that is $75,000 for the entire district, and that would be an annual recurring cost. Year 2, EL education implementation training, that includes an on-site full day of PD, as well as a later PD in November. Those are full day professional learning opportunities with EL coaches. That's a one-time cost that will come off the books next year. It's also going to be fully funded by grant dollars. And then the on-site coaching, which is a little bit more in terms of an expense, but what that does is that brings the EL coaches on-site for 8 days throughout the course of the year to work with every building, and that would also be funded by grant dollars. The total cost is $111,400, and I have it broken down there for you. That will be the preliminary recommendation that we bring to the board table later this month, and that concludes this presentation.
Any questions or comments?
I mean, whose idea was it to copy the workbooks?
That was mine.
No, I was messing with you.
Not, I mean, just the labor, how labor intensive it is.
Yeah.
And toner.
He's not throwing me under
I
the
know.
bus, but I was telling him how
Was
can we
you?
save money, and we
Did
came
not.
up with that, but.
We
yeah,
tried.
We tried. It was, but thank you, Scott,
Workbooks
team
are
player.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Ashley and then Deborah. And then did somebody else have
I
any?
think it's great that you guys are considering trying the workbooks, because it will keep, like you said, all the teachers organized, less labor, like you just mentioned, and then you know that they're gonna be giving the kids this curriculum. You know, if they have to copy something, there's a chance they could copy something else.
Right.
Or not
You know,
copy.
or not, right, but so, I think it just keeps, I just appreciate it, so thank you.
Deborah, did you have some?
I do. Hey, so when it's the 111,400 for the total cost, would it be more like 75 since the other dollars are fully funded?
That's correct, yeah, you're accurate with that.
Okay, so we would be approving the 75 and not the 114?
Well, we still have to take all of that to the board table and make that recommendation.
Even though grant covers it, you have to
You still have to.
So
approve it.
do the
what-
contract.
Mhm. So what grant would be covered? Is it a federal, state, local?
31A.
Oh, okay.
So like when I'm sitting here, and you can
Yeah, you're welcome.
partner with me on this, because I'm sure you might be thinking the same thing. When we talk about taking things to scale for so many years, and to see the progress over the last few years, and how much the intentionality, when you, with the triangle, with the three
Yeah.
things of the support, like, it takes all that and more year after year after year to start seeing the progress that we're seeing, and to see the same thing happening across the district. And you can see it if you visit the schools. I mean, it's clear as day, because they're almost saying the same things from one end of the district to the other in the same grade and all of that. It's remarkable, like, to really start seeing it all come together. So that is a testimony to the
finding-
entire district, and I just wanted to say that.
Finding the right programs
Yeah,
for this particular district,
yeah,
we've been through quite a few, I mean, prior
yeah,
to you,
Yeah.
Scott, that weren't showing fruition.
yeah.
And so I appreciate, I don't know how much time and work, I like to say, I know how much time and effort goes into it. I don't, because I'm not sitting with you every day, but I can imagine.
Yeah.
And I know that when we hired Danya, that was the number one task that we wanted to have addressed. And I want to thank you for all the hard work that you put into this. And I'm excited to see the results of the state test in the fall. And I do believe that they'll reflect the NWEA results as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I may be wrong about this. Is there a 31A and a 31A?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's the AA that we did
That's the
not
safety and
discuss
security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this year? Okay, thank you.
We
There's lots of
will-
letters
Good
and
questions. Yeah.
And then numbers in parentheses after these two.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they carve out stuff, so. Okay, I don't know. Well, please,
Yeah, kudos to
To everybody, to
anyone,
the whole
our literacy
team.
coaches, our principals,
and
our
I'm sure
teachers.
PLCs are also running pretty,
They're working extremely hard,
so,
and we could not do any of it without all those pieces. They're doing a great job.
so, please extend that out from the board.
Thank you.
Okay, and then agenda item number 12 is our ELD K-5 curricular resource review. Is that you too, Scott?
It is, but I am just the slide clicker for Hadil Azo
Oh,
and
forgot.
Jennifer
Oh, hi,
Frankovic.
Jennifer. I
Yeah.
didn't see you walk in.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Good evening.
I want to thank Hadil and Jennifer for being here this evening. They presented to Curriculum Council, maybe about 2.5, 3 weeks ago-ish. It feels like forever ago, but
You guys match.
I
Was
thought
that
the
coordinated?
same thing happened.
No.
Just happened as recording.
All right, well, thanks for giving us the opportunity to share this resource. If you recall, last year, many of you probably remember we came to you with a recommendation to approve our elementary newcomer resource, which was from Vista Higher Learning, and that was approved, so thank you for that. We implemented that this year. Bless you. And then now we're coming with an approval for the same company, but this resource, I call it the sister resources for ELD elementary groups, English language development, for those who forgot what ELD stands for. But for those who are not newcomers, so not in the first year in the US, but still needing that language development support and instruction.
So it is called Connect. It is comprehensive, standards aligned, used to develop proficiency from levels 1 to 5. So anytime, basically after they're ready, after their newcomer year, through the time where they've exited the program and reached the English proficiency. Some key features. It is aligned to our WIDA ELD standards and supports Common Core state standards, like it very heavily integrated throughout the resource. And that takes us to how it develops language through content area. It is one of the only resource that we saw at the elementary level that actually does that as well, where it's not just sticking to language arts and like reading and writing, but also integrating content area language, which is so important for our multilingual learners. It integrates listening, speaking, reading, and writing. I'll let Jen share a little about that later. She has a slide just on how it does that. Lots of opportunities for speaking and listening, and prior to this, we didn't really have a resource for our elementary multilingual learners other than what teachers created, which they've done a phenomenal job doing. However, it was lacking like enough practice for all 4 language domains. So we felt like what teachers had done, which got us by, but what they had done up to this point was more maybe heavily emphasizing writing and reading and maybe not enough on speaking practice. And so this has all of it, which our students really need because when they take the WIDA assessment, they're assessed on all the language domains. Lots of scaffolds and differentiation tools. I don't know where you're at.
I got you, I'm right with you.
Good.
I'm a good man away.
You are. And it also provides assessments, progress monitoring tools, and definitely has our learning targets for teachers to make sure those are visible for students. So we are here based on all of them. I'm sorry.
The content area, authentic content area of learning, is that like math or social
Yes,
studies?
it's the language of math. So it's not necessarily like the math standards the way they're
Not
taught in
2
the
plus 2,
classroom.
but like
Yes, but the skills, like what is the sum of, what is
Or
it
the
mean to
shapes.
quotient, the
Like-
shapes.
Like what is, like the product is the answer of a multiplication problem. Like they do multiplication, but then they have to use the language
yeah,
to say this is the product or this is the quote, you know,
yeah, no, that's great, that's
Yeah.
really very
this
helpful.
is a divisor, this is,
Which
that's
is a lot like
what I'm
M-STEP
teaching.
too, by the way.
Which is, I mean.
If you don't have that
math is-
academic language, you know, you can maybe know how to do math, but you don't have the language.
Exactly. So based on our data that we'll share a little bit of today with you, we've looked at various data points, assessments, teacher surveys, student feedback. Connect is being recommended today for implementation as the core designated English language development resource for our K-5 ELD groups. And then writing instruction can always be enhanced with additional WIDA-aligned prompts if teachers feel like they need to do maybe more to go above and beyond what's in the resource.
And it's for me. So I have been teaching Connect this year in my ELD classroom with my ELD students. Each student has a hardcover book, and I have my teaching manual, but it also has the book I put it on the board, but the kids have this in front of them as well. Because sometimes some of my kids are like, I can't see it, and I'm like, it's right in front of you. You open the book, and then they use the book to do, like, there's activities for them to do independently, so they can do it from this book. So they're not always online. But they can find the book online as well if they want to get on at home. There is a digital component where they can see this full text at home as well. Like she said, we're teaching the language. So it has the language of language arts, the language of science, the language of social studies, the language of math, which is something that they are tested on WIDA. So in WIDA, on the reading comprehension, the reading part, they are tested on all that. And the kids would always be saying, why are we doing math? And I'm like, it's not math, it's the language. And so, like, getting them to understand that. As far as, like, a lot of vocabulary, that content language vocabulary, but it does, like she said, the Common Core standards, a lot of my kids are like, hey, I just learned that in class. Or I teach them something and they tell their teacher, hey, Mrs. Frankovic just taught us that. Like, they were science. We were learning about weathering and erosion. And then they're like, we're starting to learn about that, and they told the teacher, and the teacher came to me and said, hey, they knew the word before I even told them. They knew what I was talking about. So it helps them to see that it's connected, that we're connected to what they're learning in class, and it's not just I'm pulling them out for extra and teaching them something totally different. It does connect with that. On the speaking and listening practice, there is opportunities for me to assign assignments where they practice their speaking, and then I'm allowed to give them feedback. So I can type in a little thing, or I can give them an oral feedback within the system that they take on tests. And then also for listening, this week my 4th graders had to listen to about a person, and then they had to answer questions about it. Or what did you learn from that text? So that helps them with their listening skills and listening to what the person is saying, because that's what they have to do on WIDA. There's a whole listening section where they have to listen and look at the pictures, and then they have to answer a question based on what they heard, not what they've read. Grading, there is opportunity for me to have a grade book, so I can kind of see how they're doing and what skills they may need to work on, what they might not, what they are secure in. Reading, there's lots, like the language, there's all those grammar, which grammar then connects to the writing that we do. So it's helping them build those understandings of those things. There's projects at the end that they can do, that they can perform. And then the assessments, there is assessments in the thing, and we give them a pre, and then we make a copy and give them a post. And so they can see how they've grown, and my kids have been really excited seeing their growth. Like, they're like, what did I do? And so I gave them on a sticky note their pre, what percentage they got, and their post, and what their percentage, and it shows them that they grew and they became, and then they're excited to share with their teachers, and they want to take it home and share it with their parents. So, and like I said, there is an opportunity for them to log in. It's through Clever, so I can even print out their code and give it to the parents, and then they can get on at home and complete activities or things, extra things if I assign them stuff. They try to do it sometimes in the classroom, so it connects all over the place. But the kids are really engaged in the units, and you'll see in the pictures, you could see in that picture before, like they're really excited to share and do different things within the units across the grade levels. And then I can pass this along if you guys want to see.
Thank you,
This is a 2nd grade one.
Okay, so we wanted to share a little bit about the process. I'm sure some of this will sound familiar because we follow the same process for all of our new resources. Last year we were evaluating, looking at what's out there, comparing resources, aligning it to our committee look-fors, what are we really wanting our students to have and what's best for them. So we reviewed research-based ELD resources that were aligned to our standards and our look-fors. I mentioned that earlier, we prioritize selecting a newcomer, and that's a newcomer resource first, and we did that, and then we moved on to, okay, the rest of our group. So the team in that phase unanimously approved piloting Connect for this school year, which we did. So moving on to this school year, which was our pilot year, we did have a structured pilot where all 2nd grade classes, we wanted to choose one grade that was consistent amongst all buildings, and it was 2nd grade, and then we had teacher choice in what they want to do for other grade levels. So some chose to pilot in all grade levels. They loved it that much that they're like, can I please use this with all of my resources? Jen was one of those teachers at Chico, and then some Doherty and Scotch were choosing some other grade levels, which was nice because then we had like a control group. We had a group that we can pull their data and see what their growth looked like compared to the pilot group, and we definitely saw some really great growth and data in our pilot groups. And then we had our professional learning ongoing throughout the year. We also had a rep from DHL, from the company, come in and observe teachers using the resource and gave some feedback to them. We had some teacher lab sessions going on where teachers went into different classrooms, those who wanted to participate, of course, and see what was it like in a different classroom, and what did that look like, kind of from the lens of the students now instead of just being the teacher. And then the teams identified strengths and in the resource, and we also, just to make sure we didn't leave anything not reviewed and looked at. We, at this school year, also looked at other resources just to be sure and say, okay, this is the right one. And so we did that, because every year it feels like there's new things out there, right? So we didn't wanna miss that. And sure enough, it was still the number one choice based on our look fors and all of that. And then here we are now. We did the curriculum council and we're here with our recommendation today.
That's last slide. No, we have more.
Oh, good, I'm glad you're sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's fun.
We got a little sampling of it.
Yeah.
We don't have all of it in there for
Okay.
everybody.
So this is just some of the
I think we
curriculum.
had one more slide.
Yeah,
Sorry.
over that.
Just, no, real quick, just what you're about to see, so, we wanted to share some teacher feedback data and some student data, so light green columns are students' data and feedback, and the dark green are teacher, scoring of it, and the highest is a 3, nothing, no element from our equity rubric, I should have said that. These are elements from our equity rubric, so they may be also familiar, with other resources that you've seen. And so nothing scored under a 2, which is our goal, and you'll see that in a little bit. 5 teachers were surveyed, those are the 5 who piloted, and then we had about 80 student responses from 1st through 5th grade. So, I'll share some of those highlights.
So these are some of the highlights. We pulled out the cultural diversity, and is it a student-centered resource? And then the UDL things, action and expression, differentiation, instruction, vocabulary. And some, it's just teachers, because those questions were more focused to what a teacher was seeing. And some are just students, because we want to get the students' input on their view of those things. And all were above a 2.
I can go over this one.
Okay, I saw your name on
Yeah,
it.
that's good. Yeah, and so essentially, all of what Hadil is sharing here is, you'll see 2 annual recurring costs. One is a digital platform, the other one is the kindergarten consumable workbook. And then the textbooks and professional learning is a one-time cost. All this will be supported through grant funding, and your total is $20,775. And then I'll bring this to the board later this month as well. Questions?
Is it ELD funding?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, the Title III.
I have a question. So I was looking at the book, thank you for sharing that. So in it, these are classroom books, right?
Yes.
So when there's activities like circle what needs to be capitalized and stuff
My
like that.
students have their own book that they write those things in.
A workbook?
Like, it's just like a writing journal.
Like a notebook.
It's their writing
Yeah.
journal that they keep. And sometimes I collect them and I can score it and then you can manually add things into the grade book as well. So I can manually add how they did. So sometimes I collect, but every student in my class has their own writing journal. So when it's like, do things on there, or I can print off. Sometimes some of the things you can print off, and then they
Is
have.
that thunder?
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be? What?
It's supposed to storm to.
I was also gonna add, it may be what you saw connects to the practice workbook, which can be printed off online. We're not ordering practice workbooks at this time because teachers are able to access them online.
And you
Because I
can
see
put
the
them on.
kindergarten one, but not.
The kindergarten one is in that
Yes.
list.
The
Correct.
It is-
kindergarten one
it
is
a
they can write.
consumable.
They
Yes.
write in it.
So where you saw circle the whatever, they will have that and they could write it
For
in.
the kindergarten.
So that's why we didn't put, that's a recurring cost, because we do have to order new kindergarten.
And sometimes, because I do project it on the board, I make the kids come up and circle sometimes, because we have the pen, so they come up and do it independent. They love coming up, and then there's a lot of like videos we can show, and then they have your turn, and so they can come up and tap and move based on the lesson, more with the grammar lessons. So the younger ones, they have this little squirrel that teaches them Zippy, and all the kids love, are we doing Zippy today? But I see my kids more engaged, they're more excited to come in. But like every student has a folder, they have the book that they get, and then they put it back, and then they can write in their notebook, their writing journal.
And I've had the privilege to witness that high level engagement, just walking into classrooms and seeing kids like, listening and recording themselves and listening, listening to the prompt, recording, and then they get to hear their voice and they even get to hear feedback from their teacher, so all of that stuff is embedded in those ways.
So kind of piggybacking what you were saying, so we are doing kindergarten consumables,
Yes.
but not 1 through 5,
No.
1st through 5th grade.
No, 1st through 5th will be
Once we
this
have
type
the
of.
book,
You
then they
don't,
just.
you don't need the consumable.
At this
Or they're
time, we
not
don't
gonna
feel we need the consumable for 1st through 5th. We feel like the textbook is enough, we're ordering enough to have like
Yeah.
class or group sets really, and then, the kindergarten one, because it is a consumable the way it is, we would have to order that every year.
Okay, my second question is, how many kids do we have K-5 in your ELD?
We're, roughly right now, about 200
Okay.
in elementary, across all elementaries.
How many of those are newcomers? Ish.
It varies, I mean, probably anywhere from 15 to 20 are newcomer numbers,
We're low
which
this
would
year,
be
right?
just first year in
Yeah.
the US. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, some years it's like as low as 10, but, it depends on the year.
Yeah.
Not a lot of pieces going.
But it does transfer from them doing the get ready
Yes.
Right into.
to
That's
right
the
into
big-
this.
Yeah.
Because the get ready, we do use for the newcomers, but then those lower proficiency first graders, you can use it as well. And my first graders that really needed it last year transitioned perfectly into Connect 2, no problems. And they're doing like really high. In their NWEA, I've seen a lot of growth in them. And so they were able to like transfer right into Connect, no problem.
So, you know what, your excitement for this product matches your excitement last year, so it's so contagious, so thank you so much. One of the things that I love to see is that there's so many ways that you can get the information. Digital, books, screen, as well as the student going in at home, so that's a wonderful thing. So let me ask you a question, I know you mentioned, and I certainly forgot, that there is a certain testing that the kids do go through. How are we able to measure our last year's project against that assessment? Do we have that data to say, hey, we used the product that we approved last year, they took that standardized test or whatever that test is to say that they have succeeded, the WIDA, yeah. And so now we have some information there. So do we have that information to kind of prove out to ourselves that this, that
Yes.
we do?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
So we
my
have
kids
it,
who use get ready.
we have it in 2 ways, if you don't mind, I'll
Yeah,
share,
go
and then
ahead.
you can add. The first way we look at that is like the percentage of students meeting their WIDA growth, and we had a rise in our total population of 10% more of an increase this school year compared to last school year that actually met that growth. I should say 25, WIDA 25, because we don't have the scores out yet for WIDA 26, but WIDA 25 compared to WIDA 24, we had a 10% increase in those who met their growth target. And then we keep seeing a consistent percentage of students that are exiting the program, so that's helpful. But the best part of it is our NWEA assessment data. Really, this year, when we pulled the pilot student growth data versus those who did not pilot, we saw tremendous, we saw an increase in, I can't remember exactly, it's not in front of me, but maybe like over 30% more in the pilot group that went up, that met their, from fall to winter projected, met their growth target just for a semester. So imagine a whole year, we had a lot more students that met that growth target from the fall to winter in reading than those who did not pilot. So we do have those graphs and data that we've pulled manually and we're able to.
And that was shared with Curriculum Council as well,
Yes.
just for the sake of brevity this evening, we didn't include all the graphs that we had, but as Hadil is alluding to, the data was really strong.
So that was a pilot program, right? So now, as we move forward to another year and getting this year, are all of the students now going to move into the program?
Yes, that's the goal. That's why we're recommending it for all ELD groups to use.
Okay, so this.
Elementary.
Yes,
Yeah.
all, sorry, thank you, all K-5 that are not newcomers, because newcomers are still gonna be using the Get Ready resource that's still from Vista Higher
That we
Ed.
approved
That we
last
year.
approved last year,
Okay,
exactly.
so this would get all of our
Yes.
students in, so this is the full breadth, if you will.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, All right, very good, thank you.
Welcome, thanks for asking.
So, just one quick question, do you conference with, ELD parents just during conferences, or do they get more, feedback throughout the year?
Both, we have some that sign up, just so ELD teachers have their sign up.
During the
just
regular
like-
conference?
And they come to me, for conferences.
And then we also have Title III parent engagement meetings that we invite our multilingual families to attend to like cover other topics.
Okay.
So, it's like a variety of ways they can get more.
And just one more thing, congratulations on that 10%, I forgot to mention that, but that's a great increase. And you're considering this product to make that, you know, to help with that increase, so that's good numbers.
Well done. Anybody else? Thank you both. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, thank you, Jill.
Okay, agenda item number 13 is our closed session for security planning and emergency operating plan review. Do I have a motion to go into closed? Person?
I move that the board convene in closed session to discuss security planning and the emergency operation plan, EOP, pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Section 8(1)K.
Do I have a second? I have no idea when this was coming, Ashley.
I did not either.
I hope it's not flooded by the time I walk out. The motion for the board to convene in closed session to discuss security planning and emergency operation plan pursuant to Open Meetings Act, Section 8(1)K has been moved in second. I'll take a roll call. Art? Ashley?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 6-0, so we will immediately immediately following the closed session, the board will adjourn the meeting, and no other items will be